So I just saw the movie called something like After the Gods. I'll get the full title in the when I write it up, but I don't have it here on handy right now. So, but it's subtitled in Chinese or some Asian language, probably Chinese. Subtitled in English. It's spoken in Chinese. So, um, and it was playing at the Irvine Edwards UCI Edwards, and I think it must be a sequel. I'm not familiar with all these Asian movies, but this one was actually pretty good. Um, it has a lot of theological content, albeit from a Buddhist perspective, not a Christian. But nonetheless, you can still, you know, pluck some good stuff out of it for Christian uh, ponderance. Because what happens is the movie begins with this fireman um, saving a life of a child in a big building fire, and he saves a child at his own expense. He dies saving this child. The child lives, and everything afterwards, after that moment, becomes his afterlife. And I don't know if this is true or fictional from the Buddhist beliefs or not, but they claimed it was a Buddhist, you know, ritual for them to be examined in the afterlife through various hells, so-called hells. And then there's the hell of, let's see here, there's the hell of deceit, there's the hell of injustice, there's the hell of murder, the hell of indolence, the hell of betrayal, there's the hell of violence, and there's the hell of filial impiety. And so he has to be examined by the judge in each of those hells uh, according to how he lived his life. And if he fails in any of those hells, then he gets punished in that hell. I'm not sure if that's eternal hell or what, but it means punishment. If he passes all those hells, then he can be reincarnated. And so the story begins. He has one brother and a mother who has been mute all her life. She can hear, but she can't speak. She uses sign language to speak. And so there's all these different adventures they have in the different hells with some special effects, of course, CGI, computer generated, and then they keep doing flashbacks to different moments of his life. And there's a prosecutor, or there's two prosecutors, and then there's the defense. They go with him from hell to hell, and try to defend him from the prosecutors who want to, of course, convict him, whether it's true or not. They're typical prosecutors, right? They just want prosecute. They just want to win. They don't care if it's true or not. But in the end, they do actually. But it's kind of a real world scenario, you know. A lot of prosecutors are like that. They're out for the win, no matter what. Shame on them. And so it's pretty interesting. I like the way they did it. And for Christian, I can't. It's too much to go into all the details. It just gets too elaborate. But we can take some of that as Christians and wonder how we will be judged. You know, and knowing we will be judged, how it should make you more careful in regards to how you live your life. And so if we can all be more deliberate in the path we take, not just for things we refrain from doing, like murder, but things, sins, those are sins of commission, murder and lying and stealing, but also sins of omission, things we failed to do that we should have done, evangelizing, helping others, kindness, all the fruit of the Spirit, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, perseverance. Especially I think of evangelism, you know, I think that's probably the weakest point for most Christians, is that they don't we don't, I include myself, we don't do enough evangelism. And we should be doing more of it. Trying to fulfill the Great Commission. Go, therefore go, baptize, disciple others, teach. And so we will be held accountable, not just for the things we didn't do, but the things we should have done but didn't do. Or the things we did do, sins we did do, but also the virtues we should have done but didn't do, which is also a sin. And I don't think we get enough about that. So you can easily, you know, put a check on the box of murder, right? I never murdered anybody. But in this movie, in fact, it's not only if you murder somebody directly, but indirectly. Meaning you refrain from, you fail to stop another person from murdering somebody. You know, you can look at that in different ways because of what you failed to do in terms of evangelism and kindness and things like that, you know, whatever. So we'll be held accountable for that. Violence. Were you violent, or was there somebody violent that you should have stopped from being violent? Maybe not in a direct moment of action, but indirectly, you know. Things we can do to impact the world, things we don't ever know, we'll never know in this world, in this life, you know, how we had an effect because it's too far away. But in the afterlife, we'll be able to replay it like a movie. God will be, and the angels and the disciples will be judging us. The apostles, all the saints, and they'll have a movie maybe, like a movie, and replay our life. You know, show different indirect and indirect links that we, especially the indirect links that we don't know about in this life, that we will find out later on. And so that moment of anger where you cursed at somebody or called them a name, how it affected them in the long term, you know, for better or for worse. In some cases, I mean, not saying that sometimes saying bad things to people is for the better, but if you said something nice to somebody and that maybe changed their, maybe they were in such a spot they were going to kill themselves, and you were the person who came along and did at just the right moment to change that suicidal thought and gave them hope. So you can be that person. I'll leave it at that. God be with you all and bless you.